2013 Owen J. Roberts Board of School Directors regular business meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please join us in a moment of silence as we reflect on those serving in the United States Armed Forces, both past and present, the elected leaders for the state of Pennsylvania, and elected leaders of our nation. We have much to be thankful for in our community. Color Guard, post colors.
Ready, face, forward, march.
Please be seated. The Board of Directors met on the following dates in executive session to discuss items in one or more of the following areas, personnel or legal matters, on January 9th, 2023. Agenda item 4 is the appointment of board members to standing committees and school board representatives by the school board president. I'm happy to, with feedback from our board members, to appoint as chair of the Curriculum and Special Education Committee, April Sabo, and Vice Chair Kathy DiMarino, with Dr. Vitoli, and a vacant spot as the fourth seat to be filled when we fill our vacant seat in the board. Finance, Buildings and Grounds Committee, with Chair David Hermanos, Vice Chair Dan Doherty, John Melnizak, and Kathy DiMarino. Legislative and Policy Committee, Chair by John Melnizak, Vice Chair Jennifer Munson, with April Sabo and Dan Doherty. And the Personnel Committee, chaired by Nicholas Rotoli, a vacant Vice Chair, Jennifer Munson and David Hermanos. Agenda item 5, the Superintendent's Report. Dr. Stout.
Okay. Hayden, good to see you. Happy New Year. Welcome. So we'll start with you and the Student Government Executive Council report.
Much has been happening at the high school that celebrates the academic, athletic, and musical success of our students. December was filled with holiday music provided by both our high school band and chorus. DECA students performed incredibly well at the district championships and are gearing up for the state competition at the end of February. The National English Honor Society also inducted over 70 new members last month. Winter sports seasons are well underway. The ice hockey, boys basketball, and winter cheer teams all celebrated their senior nights in recent weeks, and swimming, girls basketball, and wrestling are scheduled to host their senior nights in the coming weeks. Also, in wrestling, Dylan Bechtel recently earned the title of Owen J. Roberts' first ever Escape the Rock champion and only our third ever finalist. Additionally, students in grades 9, 10, and 11 are beginning their course selections for the 2023-24 school year. At the middle school, students are in the midst of course selection season. 8th grade students began selecting their desired high school electives this past Friday. 7th grade students will do the same in early February. Middle school guidance counselors will be visiting our elementary centers the week of February 6th to walk 6th grade students through the process of selecting their foreign language and electives for 7th grade. 6th grade parents are invited to join our parent orientation on the evening of February 9th in the middle school auditorium. This past Thursday, 14 talented middle school students participated in our annual spelling bee. After 18 rounds, 8th grade student Advik Kersharwani emerged as our champion. Advik will move on to compete at the Chester County Spelling Bee at the CCIU on February 7th. Best of luck to him. Our annual middle school book fair will be held from February 21st to the 24th in the library. And after a couple years off due to COVID, the Middle School Builders Club is excited to once again be hosting the student versus faculty basketball game. This awesome event will be held on February 24th in the high school gymnasium and is strategically scheduled on a Friday evening so the teachers have the weekend to recover from pulled muscles and any other aches and pains sustained as a result of their participation. December was a fun and festive month on the elementary level. Various events were held that had the holiday spirit on display throughout the district's 5 elementary schools. Families delighted in the district-wide orchestra and band evenings, as well as individual choral concerts at each school. Craft nights were hosted and theme days, including pajama days and ugly sweater contests, filled the calendar. Holiday carolers strolled the hallways, added to the highlights of the month. Following a well-deserved break for staff and students, the new year is off to a great start. Students are busy in their classrooms, learning and moving forward in their curriculum and studies. Teachers shared information about Martin Luther King Jr. and his legacy prior to our day off in his honor on the 16th, and the month will end with mid-year benchmark assessments. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Hayden. Next, Dr. Cuthbert to recognize our fall athletes.
Tonight we're here to recognize some of our fall teams and athletes. We had another great fall season. Check. Oh, there we go. All right, we're good now. So we're here tonight to recognize some of our fall teams and athletes. We had a great fall season. We're proud of all of our teams and all of our kids, but we're just recognizing some special accomplishments tonight. Now, some are here, some are on Zoom, some may not be able to make it, so we're still going to go through our script. And the process will be we'll call the group up, talk about them for a little bit, and then they'll head to the hallway. And just ask all of our athletes to stay out there because Mike will be taking pictures, and then we'll distribute the certificates in the hallway to kind of keep this thing going. All right, so first team, we have individual recognition from the golf team. We have golfers here tonight, Stefania Fadun and Eric Harkin. Eric's here. Golf team had another solid season. Stefania finished number 4 at the PAC Championship, number 2 at the District Championship, and she placed number 10 at States. Eric had an excellent season as well. He was 7th at the PAC Championships, and he also qualified for District. So congratulations to our golfers. Let's give them a hand. Hang out in the hallway. Next up, we have girls tennis. Allison Root. Is Allison here? I think she might not be here tonight, but Allison had another outstanding season. Ever since she came up as a freshman, she has been doing excellent at tennis. She placed 2nd at the PAC Singles Championship, number 4 at District Singles, and she also qualified for States this year. So congratulations to Allison on an outstanding season. Next up is the boys soccer team. If you guys want to come on up. While they're coming up, the team is coached by head coach Joe Youngblood, his first year. Assistant coaches Allison Thomas, Steve Brown, Jared Cooney, and Corey Wasson. If you didn't get a chance to come out and watch the boys soccer team this year, you missed something. They were exciting. They had a great season. This year, they finished 14-6-1. They won the PAC Championship in coach's first year, and they qualified for districts as the number 16 seed. And we also have Joey Kish made the All-State team. So congratulations to the boys soccer team on an outstanding season. Great job, guys.
All right. Want to also say, not only was Joey Kish All-State, he was all Southeast PA recognition. He was PAC League MVP, the unanimous first team selection, along with Ethan Williams and Stephen Mullen. We also had Nikki Gambone, Mason Weedle, and trying to think of the third one was second team, and our goalie, Andrew Ketty. Sorry, Andrew. And we had the Mercury all-area team. All those same players were made the same exact team, and Finn Pirtle was a honorable mention selection. Also to piggyback what Dr. Cuthbert said, we did host a district playoff game as a 16 seed, and here with us tonight are Natty and Zach Bartholomew, Lex McMurray, Nate Colt, Ethan Sussmuth, Tyler Blom, Roman Finero, Sam Benza, and Ethan Williams. Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have the girls soccer team. Any members of our girls soccer team here? Coaches, any coaches also? All right, you're going to represent us tonight, all right? The girls soccer team had another outstanding year. They had a very difficult schedule in the non-league games. They played the top teams in the district. Some of those top teams they also played more than once with the playoffs. They qualified for PACs. They were the number 8 seed in districts. They finished number 6 in the district. They qualified for states, and they really went on a run at the end of the year. And if you were fortunate enough to see any of those games, they had some amazing wins, and they advanced all the way to the state semifinals. So they made the Final Four in the state before they lost. So they really had an amazing season. So congratulations, girls, and great job. The team is also coached by Joe Margisetti, Bridget Mellon, Adam Ferreri, and Allison Mento. And Alexa Vogelman also made All Southeast and All State. We have some field hockey members here. Hopefully, do we have any field hockey members here tonight? Come on up, guys. So field hockey had another solid season. They qualified for districts as a 23 seed. They were recognized, and these are some of my favorite awards. They were recognized by the state for the Team GPA Award, which is outstanding. And we had individuals selected to the All-State Academic Team, and they're being recognized. So I just want to read all the names. Ava Clemson, Reese Fisher, Mackenzie Flick, Madeline Holland, Katja Larson, Catherine Lillard, Paige Lobb, Emily Morrissey, Larissa Schell, Kylie Shearer, Jessica Slaymaker, and Hayden Streeter, and Alyssa Taylor. So we have a lot of field hockey players that are doing great on the field, but they're also hitting the books pretty hard. So congratulations, guys, on a great season. Next up, we have the girls cross country team and some coaches. So if you guys want to come up front. Another team with an amazing season. The girls finished 5-0. They were the undisputed PAC champions. They were also the district champions. We'll get a banner is on order for that. And they finished number 5 in the state. They were amazing this year. We had several individual recognitions too. Claire Zuby, PAC champion, 4th at districts, 13th at states, 4 career state medals, qualified for the Nike Nationals, and placed 5th. She was also the Mercury Girls Runner of the Year, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 years in a row, and she was all state. So pretty amazing. And we also have Jane Kratz, 2nd at the PAC, 12th at districts, and was a state qualifier. And the next group, Ava Taylor, Kaya D'Angelo, Grace Fennell, Maggie Lustig, Brianna Cargo, and Nora Horton were all district and state qualifiers. Team is coached by Tim Marco, assisted by Tracy Muthler and Alicia Steinberger. Coach Marco, we're going to try to get him to come up here and
Thanks, everybody. Tonight we have Claire Zuby, Ava Taylor, Grace Fennell, Sadie Baker, Brianna Cargo, and Nora Horton. Thanks, everybody, for your support. Like Dr. Cuthbert said, we had a really great season, and it was a real joy to bring the first district title to the schools program and to the school district. So thank you.
Okay, ladies, let's hang out in the hallway, all right? Okay, Coach Margaret, don't go anywhere. We have boys cross country individual recognition. Andrew, you here? You want to come on up, Andrew? Okay, Andrew was a PAC champion. He was 8th at districts. He qualified for states, and he was a Mercury Boys Runner of the Year 2 years in a row. He qualified for nationals at the Garmin Running Lane Cross Country Championship and placed in the top 30. So Andrew, congratulations on an amazing season and career. Good job. Football recognition is, I don't know if Danny's here. He might be actually on the basketball court practicing. I don't see him. So football team finished 6-4, qualified for districts as a number 15 seed. We're recognizing Danny Cashman tonight. He was a Mini Max Award winner, which is given out regionally to 50 kids across our region, and it's a combination of scholar athlete awards. So these are kids that are doing all the things right on and off the field. Certainly, that's what Danny has been doing his whole career year, and they'll announce the winner. That'll go to the Maxwell Banquet in New Jersey, with the college and pro winners coming up in the near future. So congratulations to Danny Cashman on winning the Mini Maxwell Award. Okay, last one. Again, these are my favorite ones. These are the PAC Awards. We have the PAC Scholar Athletes and the Citizenship Award. And what they are, it's the senior on each team with the highest GPA is the Scholar Athlete. And then out of those, the one who's most involved in the school community, between sports, clubs, and things like that, is the Citizenship winner. So Joey Kish was the winner from the Citizenship Award, and he was not on one team, but two. He was on the soccer team, but also kicked for the football team. So congratulations to Joey on winning the Citizenship Award. The Scholar Athletes, Elizabeth Myers from cheer, Nathan Hayes from boys cross country, Callie Mullen from girls cross country, Hayden Streeter from field hockey, Joey Kish from football, Stefania Fadun from golf, Riley Koiditz from boys soccer, Kendall Cunningham from girls soccer, Lauren Koster from girls tennis, and Avery Needham from volleyball. So congratulations to all those kids. They're doing a great job in the classroom and on the field. That's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Yep. We're going to take a brief recess for the board to go out into the hallway and have some time to congratulate our student athletes. Thank you.
Okay, we'll resume here with the meeting and superintendent report. As a reminder, the district will be closed on Monday, February 20th in honor of President's Day weekend. The past 2 months since our last board meeting have been very busy. Fall sports wrapped up, and you just saw that we recognized a number of those students this evening. Winter sports are in full swing, and many school holiday concerts and other end-of-the-year 2022 activities were held. Winter sports, well, I said that. I'm not going to read that again. But we are progressing very nicely after the holiday break with a lot of activities in our schools. Paul Friel has submitted his letter of resignation, and a special board meeting will be held on February 13th to interview and select a new board member. Details on submitting applications can be found on the website and social media pages for the district. Just have one retirement. Sandra Valentine, who is not here this evening, but Mrs. Valentine has served the district for almost 27 years, spending time at the middle school in North Coventry before moving to West Vincent when the school first opened in 2008. She is the smiling face that greets all of the students as they check out books in the library and will be terribly difficult to replace because of her positive attitude and decades of OJR knowledge. We are going to miss her and wish her the best of luck in retirement. The last thing I have this evening is January is School Board Recognition Month. Each year, the Pennsylvania School Board Association, PSBA, sets aside a time in January to honor school directors for the time and commitment they bring to leading our schools throughout the year. Earlier this evening, we had the opportunity to welcome our school directors to a celebration for their service to our community and their district, and our district. We shared a video with the directors, and we had their family members present as well, showing some of our students offering their thanks and appreciation for everything our school board does on behalf of students. We will share that video with the community starting tonight on our social media channels. On behalf of the district, our students, our families, and the entire community, I want to thank our school directors for all your hard work on behalf of our children. You have our deepest respect and appreciation. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Stout. I think I speak on behalf of my fellow board members. Thank you for your team for dinner this evening, for us and our families. I know we appreciated spending that time together. And while this volunteer position is a lot of time and is a lot of commitment, I think we all find the work to be incredibly rewarding, and having this privilege to be involved in our community and working on behalf of our children, I think we all share as a rewarding experience, so thank you. We are going to move on to item 6, which is public comment. There are 2 opportunities for public comment. The first section is for information, proposals, and statements from individuals or delegations pertaining to items on the agenda that will be voted on tonight. Speakers are to indicate your name, township of residence, and the items on the agenda to which your comments are addressed. Speakers will be limited to not more than 3 minutes. Please understand that this is not a time for dialogue with the board. Rather, the board will listen to all comments and consider them in future deliberations. The second section will be at the end of the meeting and is for residents to speak on any item. Also, if you have any question for the school board, you may email all school board directors at schoolboardmembers@ojrsd.net, and you will receive a written response. For anyone online, if you would like to make a comment, please use the raise hand function. When it is your turn to speak, please state your name and township of residence.
Good evening. Colleen Blute, North Coventry, East Coventry Township. I'm looking at item agenda 14.15, approval of a confidential agreement. Just curiosity got me there. Is it approval between a student and a family, or is it approval of agreement between an employee? But now the real reason I'm up here has to do with agenda items 13.4 to 13.14, excluding 13.10, 13.11, and 13.13. In my statement to you, I am not going to use the name of the person, nor will I use the gender. I will use simply coach, as I feel more comfortable using the word coach. It is not a coach. I have discussed it with Dr. Cuthbert. He knows it's not a coach. Approximately 6 years ago, there was a coach who coached, probably did a really good job. But for one reason or another, and the community never found out, the coach was told he couldn't coach for 5 years. 5 years is up. That coach interviewed for a coaching position, got the coaching position. What's the difference between 5 years and 6 years if you're not permitted to coach? When there are just as qualified coaches available for that position. Yet the school district chose to take a person back as a coach who they said could not coach for 1 to 5 years. Doesn't make sense to me. I would think twice about having my child under that coach. Thank you.
Heather McCurry, East Coventry. I want to speak very briefly on two agenda items, 14.18 and 13.11, of which I sent you guys an email. And the topic that I want to speak to about very quickly is musical and the confusion that is appearing on this agenda when you approved a whole set of directors and helpers October 17th. And then that group that you approved apparently left, everybody left, and you've, on the agenda tonight, you have a completely new set of adults working with individuals. This goes to one of the things that I've requested repeatedly, that you guys have committees or have topics where people can talk about this, but more importantly are the concerns that I wrote to you in private. And those concerns involved a person that is on the agenda to be approved tonight, and some very serious things that happened in 2017, that there was a public complaint filed, and the resolution that was come to, I thought was sticking. And that resolution, since it involved my daughter and a number of her peers, was very disheartening to see this topic not be taken seriously. It doesn't matter when that happened, in light of all the things that have happened so far recently in this district with the Hodges report, the examination of how files are kept and personnel records and whatnot, it was very, very discouraging to see somebody that possibly maybe a better choice could be made being approved at the 11th hour tonight, when students are depending on it and parents are depending on it. And I was very disappointed after the work that I've seen all of you guys do here. It's like everything was wiped away to me personally. That is a time as a parent that I wish I did not have to go back to. If your child and her peers were treated the way mine was back then, you would vote no on the item that I wrote to you on. At the very least, you would make a motion to separate that out from that agenda item, and you would table it for future discussions. That item is not appropriate, and it actually goes to the safety and protection of our children here in this district. And I really had hoped and thought that you guys were doing better with that job.
Are there any comments online?
Madam President, there's no public comment from Zoom.
Thank you. Agenda item 7, board committee reports. A working session was held on January 9, 2023 at 6 p.m. The following committees met at that time: Curriculum and Special Education, Finance, Buildings and Grounds, and Legislative and Policy. So starting with committee reports, Chester County Intermediate Unit, Mrs. Munson.
The intermediate unit met on Wednesday, January 18th. I was not able to attend because I was traveling. However, I reviewed the agenda and summary that was sent out afterwards. They discussed audit, budget, and facilities matters, and awarded or voted on the bid awards for renovations of the ESC and TCSH Brandywine, the CCIU Learning Center, and new toddler center in Coatesville. These are things that have been on the long-term plan for quite some time. There will also be, pay attention board members who like to be appreciated, another appreciation dinner. This one's on March 28th at 6 p.m. at the TCSH Pickering campus. And, not that much against Chartwells, but the students in the culinary program there usually put together really, really awesome stuff. So I do recommend going. And the next meeting for the CCIU General Board will be on February 22nd at 7:30 p.m. on the TCSH or TCHS Brandywine campus. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Munson. Curriculum and Special Education Committee, Mrs. Saba.
The Curriculum Committee met as part of the working session on January 9th. There was one item on the agenda. Dr. Monahan reviewed the curriculum revision process for ELA, presented a summary of information for each school during fall PTA meetings, reviewed teacher feedback, and analyzed student test results. Dr. Monahan showed each category of the audit provided by PDE for curriculum review, and he shared current student data for ELA. The Curriculum Committee is scheduled to meet as part of the board working session on February 14th. An assessment update is scheduled for that time to include fall and winter data. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Saba. Finance, Building, and Grounds Committee, Mr. Hermanos.
The Finance, Building, and Grounds Committee met at the working session 2 weeks ago, and we pushed forward the Act 1. There we go. Act 1 recommendation to limit the tax increase to 4.2% or lower as recommended by the state, and we'll be voting on that later this evening. And also we have some committee meetings scheduled for February. We'll be meeting on February 6th at 6 p.m. here in the LGI, and on, I think, the 23rd for the working session. 13th for the working session, excuse me. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Hermanos. Legislative and Policy Committee, Dr. Melmazak.
The Legislative and Policy Committee met during the January 9th working session also. LMP does have a couple of items on the agenda tonight. Item 8.3 is the new 2023-2024 district calendar. Item 8.4 includes the first reading of 6 policies to amended, and 8.5 includes the first reading of 4 policies to be deleted. And later on the agenda, there's item 14.1, which is the second reading of 5 policies to be amended, and 14.11, the second reading of 7 policies to be deleted. And we have not yet decided on our next meeting because we just kind of met today.
Sounds good, thank you. Personnel Committee, Dr. Rattoli.
The Personnel Committee has not met since the last general meeting, but I'd like to share that ONJ will be participating in a countywide recruiting consortium along with the 11 other Chester County districts for all positions. So if you're thinking about a job or career in education, from bus drivers to the classroom, we'll be sharing this information on our website and social media. This campaign will run from February to June.
Thank you, Dr. Rattoli. Agenda item 8, recommended routine matters consent items. We're looking for a motion to approve. A motion to approve the following routine matters, which are agenda items 8.2 through 8.15 as action consent items. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second. Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Number 9, recommended routine matters. 9.1, acknowledge the receipt of donations, contributions, and gifts as presented. The high school received a gift from Coventry United Methodist Church of 2 clarinets with an approximate value of $400. The middle school received a donation of $195.68 from Coventry Ice Cream Parlor. East Coventry Elementary School received a $300 donation on behalf of IQVIA Incorporated for a blackboard. And the East Coventry PTO donated $106 toward the field trip to Ridge Fire Company. East Vincent Elementary School received 3 donations from the East Vincent PTA, the first for $5,966 for the purchase of playground equipment, $750 for a field trip to Oslonsky's Farm, and $299.99 for the purchase of a new microwave for staff use. The Owen J. Roberts Education Foundation made the following donations: a story walk materials in the amount of $349.68, flexible seating in the amount of $512.94, floor cushions in the amount of $82.54, STEAM supplies in $5,800, equipment and tech for animal studies in the amount of $341.68, veterinarian career supplies in the amount of $263.84, library makerspace materials in the amount of $413.75, and Peace Place classroom kits in the amount of $1,143.35. Pottstown Area Health and Wellness Foundation made a donation of $350 toward the elementary fun run at Warwick Park. Do I have to take a vote on? Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion to acknowledge receipt of donations, contributions, and gifts as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. The approval of routine matters consent items 10.2 through 10.5. Do I have a motion to approve routine matters 10.2 through 10.5 as action consent items?
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Number 11, board discussion. Is there any board discussion? Okay. We're going to move on to old business, 12.1. I don't think we have any old business, Mrs. Kerman? No? Okay. Number 13, new business, approval of personnel matters, consent items. The board will make a motion to approve, I'm looking for a motion to approve the following personnel matters, which are items 13.2 through 13.3 as action consent items, subject to the proviso as presented. I'm sorry. 13.2 through 13.13 as action consent items, subject to the proviso as presented. The board reserves the right to reduce and/or discontinue any appointment and payment herein should any future events, whether known or unknown, make it impossible or impractical to implement the extracurricular activity. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there any discussion?
So we had some comments about some of these personal matters, and there's some concern there. And I'd just like to get a little more, I have no idea of what they're talking about, and I just would like some more information, if there is any. Maybe we have to stop for executive session for that, if it's confidential. I don't know. I think we'd be remiss to not hear these concerns in more detail.
I have to agree with David. Because I don't know what any of that's about. So I would like to understand what's.
Yeah, so you wouldn't be at liberty to discuss personnel matters here in a public meeting. We can recess to have an executive session, but it wouldn't be appropriate to discuss it publicly.
Okay, then why don't we recess and have that discussion? Thank you. Thank you for your patience. The board met in executive session to discuss personnel matters. We have a motion that is currently on the floor that has been seconded. Do we have any more discussion on that motion? In that case, all those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
The motion passes. Agenda item 14, the approval, 14.1, approval to accept the resignation of Paul Friel, a school board member. As we've spoken about a few times, Mr. Friel has resigned, and we will be looking to replace him at the February 13 special meeting, when we invite all of those community members who would like to apply to please do so. Do I have a motion to accept the resignation of Paul Friel?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Read, I don't have any discussion about that, but I just want to make sure that something is okay that just happened.
Okay.
When you just did the motion you said all in favor, and we all said aye, and you did not ask for anyone to say nay. Any opposed? Do you know what I'm saying? I cannot.
Okay. So in
Thank you, Jackie.
agenda item 13, consent items 13.2 to 13.13, we have a motion that has been made and accepted. We have had discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Agenda item 14, do we have a motion to accept the resignation of Mr. Friel?
So moved.
And second.
Any discussion?
We should thank
Yes.
Mr. Friel for his service to the district. I think we're all very grateful for his leadership while he was board president, and it's rather exciting that he has to step down because he's taking a more active role at the state level.
And make sure you call them all the time and
Yes.
ask for stuff for our school.
I like that.
Mrs. Peterson, I have one point of correction, if you
Okay.
don't mind. On agenda item 13, the consent items, 13.1, it stated 13.2 to 13.13.
Yes.
In reality, there are 14 items. So just for clarification, just for the record to note. We have till 13.14.
Can we finish 14 and then go back? Okay, so we're going to finish 14 since that's standing open
Okay.
now. So all those in favor of the motion for agenda item 14?
Do you need a motion for 14 first?
I thought we had one already.
We did.
We're on,
13.14.
For
We're on 14.1.
we're finishing 14 because
Okay.
that was what was currently open, and then we're going back to
sorry. Thank you.
13.14.
Got it.
Okay, so we currently have a motion that has been seconded. We have had discussion on agenda item 14.
Point one.
Point one.
Point one. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now going back to 13.14, which is the approval of hourly rates of pay for the community swim program. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. We are going on to 14.2, the approval of the reformation of local board procedures, board governance standards, and code of conduct. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any communication, or sorry, any discussion?
Well, this is probably something that we should discuss because, you know, we take our jobs seriously. The principles for governance and leadership are principles that I know I try to hold in mind when I'm evaluating decisions and looking at the direction for the school district. Are there any things that the other members here would like to discuss about these?
I would just like to say Rita's doing a great job, and I'm not joking. I mean that for real. I know it's hard to be a new president and it feels awkward and everything, and we all are behind you in that. So
Thank
good
you,
job.
Kathy, I appreciate it.
I think I would just have a follow-up on the item related to the board self-assessment. This was discussed at our working session, and Dr. Stout, I know you and I have had discussions about reaching out to the PSBA in terms of a tool that is available that we can utilize to conduct that self-assessment. So I would be all for moving forward on that.
I was gonna do. Okay, if there's no more discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. 14.3, approval of working session and school board meeting dates for 2023-2024. So this is a motion to approve the schedule of working session and school board meetings dates for the next school year. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
There is a change for the calendar from previous years in that graduation will now be on a Wednesday instead of a Friday, so just so people don't automatically book off that Friday.
So this is for our meetings. We're not up to the district calendar.
Some people are ahead and some are behind.
Which there is a change, though. Our
Yes.
board meetings are going to move to 6 PM, which I think is important to note.
Yes, our monthly meetings will move to 6 PM to line, so that both sets of meetings will be at the same time. So
Then I'm
all
done.
those, we're good, discussion good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. 14.4, approval to grant administration permission to apply for state, federal, and local grants for the 2023-2024 school year. Do I have a motion to approve grant administration permission to apply for state, federal, and local grants for the 2023-2024 fiscal year?
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 14.5, approval of policy 333 to 339, work year and fringe benefits for administrative employees, and policy 328.1, salary determination, management evaluation, and compensation plan for administrative employees. So we need a motion to approve policy 333 to 339, work year and fringe benefits of our administration employees, and for policy 328.1, salary determination, management evaluation, and compensation plan for administrative employees as presented. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I would like to just say very briefly that, plans like this and working in good faith towards plans like this, our administration team does a wonderful job in the Owen J. Roberts School District. And if we have the opportunity to not only encourage and reward that tremendous effort that they do, but to encourage when we do have openings to have great candidates join us in ONJ, I think plans like this help us do that. And so I'm very pleased to move forward with this. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, item 14.6, approval to request PDE Act 80 approval for the 2022-2023 school year. So we need a motion to approve to request Act 80 approval from the Pennsylvania Department of Education for the following calendar days for the 2022-2023 school year as presented. These would be for curriculum development, staff and service, full day for all grades. They are August 23, 24, 25 of 2022, October 24th, and November 8th of 2022, March 3rd of 2023, April 21st of 2023, and June 12th of 2023. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I just have a quick question. So it says 2022, so this is past?
Yeah.
So we're approving the past dates?
Yeah, we have to submit a report to PDE, so it is for calendar days we're using this year.
Okay.
Yes.
Making sure.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Agenda item 14.7, the approval of out-of-state overnight student trips. I need a motion to approve the out-of-state overnight student trips as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. 14.8, approval of conference attendance. We need a motion to approve the conference attendance as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Nope.
Sorry, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. 14.9, ratification of homebound instruction. Can I have a motion for the ratification of homebound instruction for student A as presented?
I'll motion.
Are we voting for them separately?
Sorry?
Are we voting for each student separately?
No.
No.
There's
Student A and B.
Student A and student B as one.
Because you just said student A.
Oh, I'm sorry. Student ratification. I read the highlighted one. Ratification of homebound instructions for students A and B as presented. Thank you. Can I have a motion for that?
I'll motion.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. 14.10, approval of policies for second reading. Need a motion to approve the policies for second reading from the Legislative and Policy Committee from the November 14, 2022 working session. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. 14.11, approval of policies for deletion for second reading. Can I have a motion to approve policies for deletion for second reading from the Legislative and Policy Committee from the November 14, 2022 working session?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just clarification for the public in case they have not been playing along this entire time. We are currently consolidating our 300s, 400s, and 500s. So as we make the changes to the 300s, then we are able to delete the matching policies from 400s and 500s.
Thanks. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Agenda item 14.12, approval of a waiver agreement. May I have a motion for the approval of the waiver agreement as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. 14.13, approval of a waiver agreement. May I have a motion for the approval of waiver agreement 14.13?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. 14.14, the approval of a waiver agreement. May I have a motion to approve the waiver agreement for 14.14?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. Agenda item 14.15, approval of a confidential settlement agreement and release. May I have a motion to approve the confidential settlement agreement and release as
So moved.
presented? Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I believe this is the one where the public was wondering whether it was a student or a teacher type of agreement. Are we able to make any characterization of this beyond what is written right here?
As long as it doesn't or couldn't in any way identify the individual, then you can make it general, yes.
Right, because the ones previous, I think everybody assumes that a waiver agreement is generally for a student agreement. The wording of this doesn't make it clear, but we're able to say it is a student
Correct.
agreement.
As long as you don't identify the student.
Right.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. 14.16, the approval ratification of law firm merger. This motion is to appoint Saxton and Stump LLC as the district's construction law counsel. Due to a merger, the attorneys formerly at Kegel, Kellen, Litz, and Lord LLP are moving their practices to Saxton and Stump LLC. The district appoints Saxton and Stump with the understanding that the district will continue its relationships with the attorneys formerly at KKL&L. The Construction Law Council services and hourly rates will stay the same for 2023. Do I have a motion to approve the appointment of Saxton and Sump LLC as the district's Construction Law Council for the 2023 school year?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Number 14.17, approval of an accelerated budget opt-out resolution certifying tax rate within inflation index for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. Looking for a motion to approve of the accelerated budget opt-out resolution certifying tax rate within inflation index 2023-2024 fiscal year is presented. The approval of this resolution is being recommended by the Finance, Buildings, and Grounds Committee from the January 9, 2023 working session. I have a motion.
I'll motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
I made an error in my report earlier. I said that the limit was 4.2%, but it's actually 4.1%.
Thank you for your clarification. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. 14.18, approval of student activity club advisors and student officers. May I have a motion to approve of student activity club advisors and student officers in accordance with the provisions of Section 511 of the Pennsylvania School Code for the 2022-2023 school year as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion from the board?
Ms. Peterson, do you have to recuse yourself from this vote?
No, the child is not a employee.
Oh, okay.
Well, and also it does state, if you follow the asterisk, that the high school spring musical is approval of club advisor only.
Right, right,
The others were approved at the October 17th school board meeting.
right. The child was approved back in October.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Agenda item 14.19, approval to establish a student activity. I need a motion to approve to establish a student activity club in accordance with the provisions of Section 511 of the Pennsylvania School Code and School Board Regulation 122A and/or 122B as presented. This approval also provides for the establishment of accounts within the student activity accounting system where applicable. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
These look like some great clubs.
I'm excited. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. 14.20, approval of transfer of accounts. I need a motion to approve the transfer of accounts recommended by the school district's auditor to close the general fund, capital reserve fund, capital projects fund, and the internal service fund for the fiscal year ending June 23, 2020 as presented. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
In a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Perhaps we should have just a little bit of an explanation, Ms. Cumbrine?
Sure, I'm happy to. When the auditors close the books, they require us to take board action for the audit entries that close the year-end accounts. And so we just received the audit results last week. So we put it on for the board to acknowledge receipt of, which they did, and then the auditors, it's an audit thing, to be honest with you, they require it.
So this is more confirming that these numbers are correct than actually moving
Oh, correct,
money
absolutely.
from one account to
They're not
another.
moving, correct.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. 14.21, a motion to approve appointment of Saxton and Stump LLC as District Construction Law Counsel for the 2023 calendar year. I'd like a motion to appoint Saxton and Stump LLC as the district's construction law counsel. Due to a merger, the attorneys formerly at Kegel, Cullen, Litz, and Lord LLP are moving their practices to Saxton and Stump LLC. Jackie, is this the same motion?
The same.
Okay. So I can cross this one out? I don't want a motion for that. Okay. That would be a duplicate. Thank you. Yep. Okay, 14.22, motion to appoint Howard L. Kellen Esquire and Sweet Stevens, Katz and Williams LLP to represent district in East Coventry roof matter. So we have a motion to appoint Howard L. Kellen Esquire and Sweet Stevens, Katz and Williams LLP to represent the school district in matters pertaining to the East Coventry Elementary School roofing situation. The billing rate shall remain at $295 an hour. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
In a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. 14.23, approval to close out SMJ's East Coventry Elementary School construction contract. We have a motion to, may we have a motion to close out SMJ's contract on the East Coventry Elementary School construction project and to place the remaining $203,773.20 into a separate school district bank account, with the funds to be provided promptly to SMJ upon either 1, receipt of the ATAS roofing panel warranty, or 2, alternative arrangements suitable to the district. If this issue is not resolved by January 1, 2028, the remaining account funds shall revert to the district's general fund. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I think this seems like a good logical step for us to take in light of we need to move on from this issue.
And plus, once the contract is closed, we can get the $2 million from the state.
Correct.
After
It allows us to apply for Plan-Con reimbursement. Correct.
Although I'm curious, though, the 2028 is a long time away. Do we have any kind of contingency if something were to happen to that roof and we don't have the warranty and all that figured out, or we're not allowed to talk about that?
That's what those funds are for and being set aside in that separate account.
And that's enough funds to manage it over,
Hopefully.
Lord. Okay, thank you.
Okay, no more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Agenda item 14.24, the approval of the 2023 Spring Community Swim Program. I would like a motion for the approval of the 2023 Spring Community Swim Program as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. 14.25, approval of professional services maintenance agreement. May we have a motion for the approval of professional services maintenance agreement as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Agenda item 15, public comment. There are 2 opportunities for public comment. The first section is for information, proposals, and statements from individuals or delegations pertaining to items on the agenda that will be voted on tonight. Speakers are to indicate your name, township of residence, and the items on the agenda to which your comments are addressed. That's the wrong, sorry. First, second.
It would be for any item.
Yep,
It
sorry.
doesn't have to be on the agenda.
Yes, sorry, I'm reading from the long script. There are 2 opportunities for public comment. This can be on any topic. Please state your name and township of residence. Know that you have 3 minutes. And if anyone online would like to make a comment, please use the raise hand function when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and township of residence.
Heather McCurry again, East Coventry. I want to thank you guys for taking the time to entertain what I said earlier, and also for the transparency that I saw on the agenda tonight. There were a lot of attachments on there. I want to speak to one. I want to speak to the musical again, since I had to go back in and look at that. I wanted to remind people that in the past, at the end of the musical, it used to be a treat for the students to go to New York City and see a musical. And I noticed in the student activity account that there was plenty of money there, and we had a whole lot of stuff with that back in 2017. So I would hope maybe that tradition could come back. I did see when I was going around online that Boyertown is taking their entire musical department to London this year, the band, the chorus, and the ensembles. And I just think that would be such a great thing, actually, if we could step up the performing arts, because it's time. And for example, the band is taking a trip to Hershey this year. So I think really the kids that are in that area should be paid attention to. The other thing I want to speak to very briefly is this is the 20th anniversary of the fashion show. That event was put on by a bunch of women when they started out, and the purpose was to raise money for post-prom, to give kids a safe alternative on prom night. Now, this year, the fashion show has been broken away from supporting the post-prom because of whatever reasons and support and other money issues that are up there. However, I probably imagine that there won't be a post-prom at ONJ this year. If there is, I haven't heard about it, and we talk a lot on the community Facebook pages, you know. And so I think that that is a real shame that that activity will die this year, because pretty much every other school around here has a post-prom. And another item on the safety and opportunities to teach these young people a better path and alternatives that might be available to them. So I would hope that maybe those of you on the board that have children in high school might take a look at that and remember the traditions of when that was started was in the PTA system, and the younger PTAs would support and help out and go to the high school PTA to create an event for the children. Thank you.
There is no Zoom comment, Madam President.
Thank you. Okay. Agenda item 16, board discussion, follow-up, and request for information. Does anyone have anything they would like to bring up?
Regarding that last comment about the music department, I'm pretty sure that the orchestra and all the music department will be traveling this year, which I'm very excited about, because I do think that that's something that we need to encourage, is that, you know, the kids work so hard, and it shouldn't just be the band or just the choir, you know, for them all to be able to participate in that. I think it's really good, and so good for them to be able to do that this year.
Yeah, it's my understanding that the choirs and the show choir will travel with the band on the same day to Hershey Park this year.
Can I ask for an update on some, like our open positions in ONJ? We get to see a lot of the things pop up and such in our email. And I'd just be curious what positions are open, and then how long have they been open, and are they benefited positions versus non-benefited?
Sure. Mrs. Smith, Kristen Smith, keeps a record of that, and we can happily provide it.
Yeah,
Dr.
that's
Stout.
something we could look to do in a board report. All of our open positions are on our website, but yeah, Kristen Smith is not here, who's the HR director, so we can ask her for that information, though.
Yeah, I'm more curious about how long some of them have been posted for. Yeah.
I have a couple things. It's been a while since I've heard anything about the cameras on the school buses for the stop signs. Is there any update on that? I think that was close to a resolution a few months ago, but I haven't heard anything since.
Sure, I'm happy to provide an update if you like. All of the townships had signed off on their MOUs. What we were waiting on was the state police's sign off. So they signed off, I want to say maybe 2 months ago. So the team, including John Yount and Chris Gray, they have been meeting with the bus patrol folks and working on the schedule to do that. So we kind of need a break. So I believe that the first set of buses will be prioritized, and it will be over the holiday break. They just need a certain amount of time to do that. So we'll be doing them in rotation, and it should begin over the spring break.
Spring break, okay.
Yep. Not all of them will be done at the same time, but that's
Okay.
when we'll get that started. And they're also ironing out some things with the different local police agencies. I'm sorry? Oh, yes. We'll work with Michael Rodriguez to make sure that there's an announcement well in advance. well in advance.
And the last thing I had, I just want to have a quick follow-up. April, to the last working session we had with the presentation on curriculum. I think there's something just that stuck with me after that meeting that I'm trying to figure out related to the support services that are in the schools, and if we're pulling any personnel from those support services to cover gaps in absences. I understand there's a substitute teacher shortage, so I really want to get a sense of, are our support services in the classrooms dedicated solely and fully to those support services, or are we using them to fill gaps where we have a shortage in substitute teachers? And then further, how are we addressing that substitute teacher shortage? And Jackie, is that something that we'll be looking at with the upcoming budget discussions?
We'll definitely be discussing it at the upcoming budget discussions.
And at we have a monthly meeting I have with Dr. Soder, and it's been a topic that we've been having a discussion about the substitutes and where we're pulling and who we're pulling, and with ESSER's funds running out and such like that. So I do believe we're going to have a discussion about it hopefully in the next few months.
Yeah, and I would say to Mr. Doherty, last year, if I'm being quite honest, we were pulling a lot of those specialists quite often because of the shortage and the need to quarantine and all those things we were doing last year. This year, we've prioritized them. I can't say that we never pull them, but I can say that it's a last resort because we are prioritizing those services for kids. But there are times that the principals have informed me that we have had to use them, but it's after we've exhausted all other options.
How are things going with our busing and shortage on drivers? Where is that?
Good question.
Sorry.
Again, we're continuing our efforts. I mean, we still have the $3,000 bonus. I hate to say this, but we're in better shape than our colleagues in other districts in Chester County, but still we're averaging probably about 8 to 10 drivers short per day. So it continues to be a problem when we hire new folks and we have folks that are leaving. So we have not solved the issue.
And we're seeing other districts advertising in our district, so.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I've heard in some other districts where some kids are getting home up to 2 hours late because they're doing multiple runs because of the shortage of drivers. So again, we have areas where we definitely need to improve, and we're trying, but we have not arrived yet.
Well, I drive from this area through southern Delaware County for work purposes, and I swear there's a school bus driver sign posted every mile between here and Aston, PA. So it's not just an ONJ problem, that's for sure.
Related to that, do we have some plans to really make OJR shine at the job fairs? There's gonna be like all these schools there, so.
Yeah, I would like to showcase us, but it is a collaborative effort. So it's being run through the IU, so there's equal representation from the school district. So we're trying to do that together. But I will say, and this is last Friday, I did host the Suburban Study Council superintendents. So we had 24 current and former superintendents at East Coventry Elementary last Friday morning, and our school district showcased very well to our colleagues. And in particular, we spent time going through our MTSS program using Linkit. We did a presentation to the board earlier this year, and then our elementary STEAM program. Those were the two things we featured, and our folks did a fantastic job and got raving reviews from my colleagues.
Dr. Stout, are we going to be having a check-in, a mid-year check-in on our district goals? I believe we talked about that when we approved the goals, and we were looking at February for follow-up on that.
Yep, we'll have the mid-year check-in on goals. That will be February at our board work session.
That's February 13th, right?
Yes.
Just a question here. Do we as a district ever do like a career fair for our students? Where we bring in businesses, in the community or other organizations, and we expose our high school and middle school students to different career paths?
I don't know if we do. I mean, obviously, I don't know what we did pre-COVID. I mean, Mr. Kohler, I see you out there. Is that something that we currently do?
Yeah, just in discussion, I have, a 20-year-old and 2 teenagers right now, and I'm talking to them about, careers, and they're like, the careers are changing so fast anymore. Like when we were kids, there was, 60 different careers or whatever, and now, like, some kids go to school to be a thing, and then by the time they're out of school, that thing is a different thing than it was when they started. And so, I think it would be very helpful for our, we're teaching them math and science and STEM and STEAM and arts, and, to expose them to other professionals and, have them get an idea and have them set goals. Like, yeah, maybe I want to be a graphic designer or a computer programmer or an engineer or, whatever. And I know my company would be more than happy to set up a table for a day and have, middle school and high school students ask questions, and we can do presentations. And I think that might be a good thing for our kids long term.
Yeah, I agree, and it's a timely topic. We will be bringing Mr. Bentman at a future meeting. I think it's February or March, Brad? March. In March, we're going to be bringing the district its Act 339 plan, and that is a career development plan that we're working on with our counselors. So that'll be a good time to talk about what we're currently doing, because we are doing things, but I'm not sure. In fact, I know we're not doing a career fair right now, but I don't know if we did one prior to COVID. But that's something we can look at as part of that plan.
So
you could even pitch it to some, I'm sure there are companies that would take, summer interns. So, maybe juniors and seniors might even be able to pick up a couple months of work. And most companies right now are starving for help. So
Yeah,
I think
it'd
it
be
could be
great to do, like,
it could be
for
beneficial
the
both
college.
ways.
We have a college fair here, I believe, so it'd be great to do it for the college
Absolutely.
fair. And then the college fair to also extend to like internships or apprenticeships or whatnot too.
I do know that there was a Women in STEAM fair at the high school prior to COVID, because I met Dr. Melnichek's wife there, because we were both participants.
Well, anything to engage with the community, like you're saying, there could be companies that would do this or that or whatever. If we can get information out to our community, that would help us connect, what we're doing here with our community who maybe don't have kids in school but need people or whatever, because we're always talking about that, right? How to reach people that don't have kids in school. So maybe this whole idea of trying to connect in a career planning kind of thing would be
Yeah, I think
something to dig into.
That'd be great.
And we'll
Bring
have a
the greater
follow-up.
community and, yeah.
Because I'm sure in classes, I know teachers are doing that, introducing students to careers, and in certain classes having guest speakers come in. But to have an entire day where you're essentially shutting down the school and bringing people in, that's a big ordeal. I've done that other places, but it's something we can look at as part of the plan and see how we want to proceed.
I think we did something like that at the middle school about 5-6 years, because I remember being there for something all day in my veterinary attire, so.
And just one point of information for the board, we have talked about going back out to tour the buildings this spring. I have asked that to go on the calendar, but have asked to wait until our new board member is seated so that they can join us. And I have also asked that when we do visit at least one of our elementary schools, we can see the STEAM program in action within a building. So, is there any other board discussion? I do remind the board that we will be meeting in executive session this evening after this meeting ends, so perhaps 5 minutes after we adjourn. If you want to take a break and meet in the LGI, I would appreciate it. So if there is nothing else, I adjourn this meeting. Thank you.